Hey everyone, this is Blake, aka Lion the Hawaiian, coming at you with a deck profile on Team Tempo, TCG's profile. So I just want to give a huge shout out to our team for going to this regional first and foremost. The regional was in Chicago, around 530, 540 players attended. We were overcapped for sure. Very long day, it was 10 rounds. Deck performed well. Me, not so much. I was pretty tired towards the end of the event. I was running on like 35 hours of no sleep. Uh, Being that I work third shift as a RN, so it can be a little bit difficult during these major events or smaller events that end up lasting until, the midnight hours. That being said, um, I also want to give a huge shout out to a couple players on our team, one of them being Gustavo and then Yusuf, for brushing me up on the format and gave me some practice the night before because I didn't, prior to this tournament, have any practice against Snake Eye Fire King aside from just watching videos and how they play. Um, the format looks to be a little bit more tough than I thought, but it's kind of cool to try out a different deck and do pretty well with it. I got top 64, 22nd place with this. Um, Got a little flair in here of Orcust cards I've been trying out since Harp Horror came off the list. Been enjoying it a lot. I also want to give a huge shout out to Cole for his first top 64, where he placed with Voiceless Voice, so he'll be going to Nats this year. Proud of him. That being said, let's just get started on the profile. It's 41 cards. So the main deck, we go 3 Purrely, 2 Purrely. The only thing I would change is adding one more almost summon to the deck, being Gearsu, as well as an option to special summon off of Harp Horror. Adds another body to the field, which can be incorporated in the end board. Sometimes when you're playing this deck, adding IP to the end board discussion. Um, that being said, I think 2 Purrely is also the play. When you incorporate other engines, you don't want to clog your hand with normal summons. She's a hard once per turn, and she's the one that you want to special summon when you establish the field spell if possible. So if I have a play to go underneath Droll, I still want to play around Imperm. So typically off of a quick play spell, I'll summon Purrely for my first play. See if I can establish a field spell before I commit to the special summon of Purrely. Now for the quick play spells, but all of them, wish you could play more. 3 Pretty, 3 Happiness, 2 Sleepy, 1 Delicious. These cards are insane. Discarding for effect is really nice. They have little niche interactions, especially with extra deck monsters. Um, yeah, not much more to say about these. These are insane. And for the other Purrely cards, we play 3 Street, 3 My Friend, and the 1 Yeep. I was previously on 2 Street. I gotta play 3 when people are on Valor and Imper main deck. These cards show their worth. Some really cool lines when you do battle phase shenanigans with happiness as well. Having the field spell up really adds to what you can end on. And now for the little bit of spice in the deck. We play 3 Orcust Nightmare, 1 Harp Horror, 1 Symbol Skeleton, and 1 Crescendo. These guys were great. The only true bricks are this, kind of this. If you can normal summon it, it doesn't really make it that much of a brick. I did that before when my opponent didn't think I have any ways to end on anything through Nib. I kept this in hand to normal summon if he had Nib. Ended up making an IP Galatea with Trap at the end of my combo with a Purrely on the field after I was locked into Darks. So that being said, that's a few interactions right there. When he already blew his load through his hand traps, you can easily, come back with the Orcust engine online. The infinite grind that the deck engine provides, is very nice, especially when Bystials aren't that relevant. For the hand traps, we played 3 Nib, 3 Ash, 2 Veiler, and 3 Imper. Hand trap wise, all these really show their worth. I maybe could have played Droll, but for this format, I felt like the Fire King Snake Eye deck, the only thing that Droll does is prevent them from getting into the Fire King part of their deck. And that being said, I didn't feel that engine was that scary. I felt like I wanted to stop him earlier, and to stop him earlier, you need these cards. Droll, they can still play through as long as they have access to Ash. Sometimes they might just pass if they start with Bonfire, but that being said, I feel like Nib was always live against that deck versus Droll not all the time was. I could consider it for the future, but I think this is what I would probably main deck for this format, seeing it's got a lot of coverage as well. As you'll see something on the side that I play that doesn't really pair that well with Shifter as well. I mean, I play Shifter in the side, so Droll doesn't really play well with that. So I think this is a good hand trap lineup for this format, at least going in blind for me. 2 Triple T, 1 Pot of Prosperity is kind of weird, but I feel like I had to play one of it at least. I was at 40 cards already, but having this card in the deck, seeing it actually more often than not for some reason, drawing into it off of Sleepy Memory and the follow-up turn, getting to whatever cards you need is kind of nice. Even though you can't do this the same turn you draw, you draw during your opponent's turn with Sleepy Memory anyways. So it's not bad. If I could play more, I would, but like I said, I wanted to fit more non-engine that was useful turn 0. This isn't doing that. Also, if it's a Droll format, sometimes you may not even consider playing this because you don't want to get hit with Droll in the main phase with this thing. And then 2 Triple Ts. Probably could have been a third Triple T right here. This guy was insane. Especially, going battle phase when you don't have it evenly matched and your opponent tries to do stuff in the main phase, you try to take their thing. Happened a few times where I've done that against one Flu player and a couple other players, one of them being Snake Eye, but he had the cross out for my triple tactics. I think that was round 7. Now onto the extra deck. We have the Galatea Ding. These guys are crazy. Galatea, when you have the trap live, and then Ding for the follow-up. Ding works really well with Happiness, protecting you from destruction by battle, so she can actually go into bigger monsters where otherwise she wouldn't be able to. They need a small monster on the field or a defense position. Yeah, Ding with Happiness is insane, and then Galatea provide that extra layer of protection with the trap is really nice. A lot of people don't know that when she's linked, she can't be destroyed by battle, so that has come up a few times where people forgot that stuff. Purrely Noir, Plump, Beauty, Happiness, X Purrely Noir. All these were good ratios. I wouldn't change a thing. Sometimes you could consider dropping this down to 1, but at the same time, if it gets dealt with or banished or anything like that, you always want to get the access to the other one. That's why I like playing this variant. You have the option to play doubles of certain Xyz Purrely monsters, versus if you're playing something like Sprite, you're limited in what you can do with the amount of Purrely extra deck you have. Also, your non-engine space is a little bit less. Then you have Anima, SP, IP because you're playing the Orcust stuff. And then we have the Zeus and the Typhon. Didn't come up a whole lot with Typhon, and Zeus probably came up a lot more than it should. But I have a thing where I avoid this card at all costs, and that can sometimes be my downfall. So I have to go into this a little bit more often in the future and remind myself sometimes it's okay to wipe your own stuff. But that being said, the extra deck was golden. I wouldn't really change a thing. into the side deck. Going first, we side in 3 anti-spell and then 1 call by the grave. This can be a flex spot for going second against Fire King, knocking out their princess, knocking out their big dragon thing. Good card. The one Phantasme, this is the spot that I typically swap out for the Prosperity when I know I am going second into a deck that links summons. And then we have a bunch of other hand traps that we play. So when I think I'm going to be going second, I typically side out all my Orcust cards. And I replace them with hand traps, as well as hand traps that can work under Shifter. So I take up my Veilers as well, my Prosperity, um, and I swap in for ratios of these cards. So 6 Orcust cards, typically like 6 hand traps, 1 Prosperity, and then another card. Oh, 2 Veilers right here. You can swap this one out, which I typically would, for the 1 Bell. Bell was in there because I thought I'd be seeing Labyrinth. People told me that Labyrinth was going to be popular. I didn't see a single Labyrinth. Um, and I wanted to fit Cosmics in here somewhat, but I felt like the best cards against Labyrinth were Bell and Ash, and Cosmic can be good against the Fire King Snake Eye matchup, but my goal was to stop them before they even got to the Fire King portion of their deck. That being said, I didn't think Cosmic would come up. It came up probably more more often um, than I thought it would, but I still think hand traps are fine, and high rolling it with no back row removal is actually, it didn't really hurt me at all. Um, that could have came back to bite me in the butt though, so I'm glad it didn't. Then 1 Condemned Dark Lord, this thing came up in my last round where I tied, but I was in main phase trying to go to end phase to activate effect, and the time was called in the main phase, so I couldn't actually gain the life. That being said, he did have imperm for her anyways, so I didn't feel that bad about it, but maybe I could have snuck into top 8 with an X2 record if that weren't the case, since my tiebreakers were good. Matchups throughout the day were pretty much all, I versed like 4 or 5 Snake Eye Fire King. 1 tie, 1 loss to it. And I think, 3 or 4 wins against that deck. I versed Kashtira. I versed 1 Purrely Mirror match. I versed 1 Rescue Ace. And then I versed 1 Pile deck, which I hope he topped with because that deck was insane. That's what made me really wish I had Droll at the time, because he won the dice roll, won game 1, game 2. I won in game 3. I hand trapped him twice at pretty good spots, but he just plowed through the board and made a board regardless. I wish I really had Droll for that matchup, but other than that, I didn't really miss it during the day. So overall, the deck was doing pretty cool things with the Orcust cards. I would highly suggest this, testing it out for people in the future if you want to give it a shot. It's definitely a strong combination of 2 engines together, and I think people might overlook it for Pure Purrely or Sprite Purrely, which are very popular engines in today's meta for Purrely players. Going forward, I might test out different things. I also wanted to try a Shadal variant, because Cross Sheep plus Purrely and Grave, it's kind of cool when you can fusion summon, keep spamming these guys back. And Shadal fusion with Ariel can banish stuff from graveyard too. So maybe we'll do some Shadal Purrely Orcust in the future, but I think definitely this is a very compact engine to add to the deck, and it adds another layer of interruption that otherwise you wouldn't have, um, while minimizing the amount of you don't have to get rid of as many non-engine spaces because you're only swapping in 6 cards into the main deck. So yeah, give it a shot. Looking forward to the future and what this deck and other engines incorporated have in store. Otherwise, thank you for your guys' time and Team Tempo.